Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Empowering Family Strategies for Family-Friendly Environments. We're thrilled to have you join us for this important conversation about fostering environments that truly support and uplift families, students, educators, and community providers. I'm Jeanette Mejias, and I'm the co-director of the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. And in this session, we're going to learn all about practical strategies, innovative ideas, actionable tools to help build family-friendly environments that empower our community to grow and succeed. So we're really happy that you're here with us. This is an engaging webinar, so we do encourage you to actively engage by asking questions and share your own insights as we move through the discussion. Thank you for being here. And now, over to Lanisha.
Good morning, Jeanette. Thank you all again for joining today's webinar. My name is Dr. Lanisha Mako-Ridley, and I am the other co-project director for the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. And I just wanted to let you know a little bit about myself. I happen to live in Parsippany, New Jersey. I have one son whose name is Brandon, and he goes to kindergarten. And my favorite thing to do is read. And let me turn it over to Kim.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Rivers, and I am the training coordinator for our Family Engagement Hub. I am a mother of three, and happy Mother's Day to everyone out there who are mothers. And I'm also a wife, and I am very glad that you guys have joined us here today. So I'm now going to pass it over to Tara.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tara Semanek. I am the Southern Regional Family Engagement Specialist for the Family Engagement Hub. I have three children who are school-aged and middle school, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all. I will pass everything to Jamie.
Thank you, Tara. Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Jamie Betances. I am the Central Regional Family Engagement Specialist for the Hub. I am married. I am a mom to one toddler. Well, not anymore. He just turned 5. And I have a German Shepherd dog, which I love. I'm going to pass it over to Faith.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faith Victor. I'm the Northern Regional Family Engagement Specialist. I am from Elizabeth, New Jersey. And fun fact about me, I love my family, so family engagement is heartfelt and a passion of mine. And to conclude it, Alexis.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Spratt. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist for the Hub, and I hope you all enjoy today's webinar.
So, let me tell you a little bit about the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. We recognize that students thrive when families and communities are engaged in the school community. By doing so, we're increasing the likelihood of student success. Our goals are to promote and engage in activities and policies that build collaborative partnerships among youth, families, schools, and communities in order to enhance child development and student achievement. We are committed to serving as a centralized information hub for family engagement. We do this by informing our educators, our families, and our community-based partners about the latest educational opportunities and barriers in regards to family engagement. We work with these partners through our collaboration and building bridges to provide technical assistance, resources, and support on enhancing family engagement policies, practices, and activities. We're doing all of this by having in-person workshops, online webinar series, and most of all, by including our youth, because without them, we don't know what they need in order to engage and also enhance their student achievement. We want our families to be at full capacity so that they can effectively work with schools and professionals so that they're able to meet their students' needs. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kim.
Thank you, Lanisha. So let's talk a little bit about SPAN. For those who not familiar, SPAN is the parent center for the state of New Jersey. There is one of us in every state. Our organization is all about providing information, technical assistance, resources, and support for families. Our mission is to empower and to inform anyone, even involve professionals who are interested in the healthy development and education of children and youth. So on the screen, you see we have a sampling of the programs that we have. We've over 45 programs covering everything from health, mental health, human services, childcare, juvenile justice. We extend to over 40 national, regional, and local programs, and we're funded by government agencies, foundations, and fee-for-service contracts. So please, if you want to take a look at what we do as an organization, you can go onto our website at www.spanadvocacy.org. So now let's take in an icebreaker. Yay! So this is a picture of environments, and I would like you to put in the chat what you see in these images. You know, what kind of emotion, feelings do you get? We have a picture of a park, obviously a kids section. We've got a picture of a family at home, a classroom, and what looks like a community center. How does each image impact you? Do you think it supports learning? Do you find it's calming? How does it impact you emotionally? And I'm going to pop into the chat and see what we have. So yes, bright and energetic. Thank you. Calming, definitely. Inclusive, relaxing. So what we see really impacts how we feel. So let's move on to the next slide. And so now let's take a look at the different kinds of environments. How does an environment make you think about whether it's physical, whether it's social emotional, whether it's cognitive? Technically, the definition of environment is the surrounding conditions or forces or factors that influence how we experience our life. You know, social, cultural conditions that influence a person or influence a community. So for physical, there's whether things are clean, whether they're safe. For social, we have a sense of belonging, the environment that provides a sense of trust or positivity. For cognitive, it's how we think. So are you intellectually stimulated? And when we're talking about kids and education, we're talking about how are we going to create a surrounding where kids are inspired, where the visuals that are around them really challenge them or make them think about themselves, make them relate to themselves. And that brings us to cultural, you know, making sure that you have an environment that reflects the diversity, the inclusion. You know, do you have an environment that is culturally responsive? So next slide. So here is some evidence of how the environmental factors influence a person. So for lighting, it really does have evidence that natural light or daylight actually increases the ability to learn 20% faster on math, 26% faster on reading tests. So that data really highlights the critical role of the physical environment. Air quality, sound, noise, temperature. Let's move on to the next slide. So let's delve into this a little more. The research shows that natural light actually improves your cognitive function and your attention. So when we're thinking about how we light a space, keep in mind that if the light is not bright enough, if it's too dim, you can cause eye strain. You can get headaches and fatigue. It makes you sleepy. You want to be able to see the words when you're reading. You don't want to create an environment where someone feels drowsy. This works especially for classrooms, right? Having light that is too bright actually does the same thing, causes strain and discomfort. So ideally, having maximum access to natural light wherever possible, adjusting the lighting as needed, because of course, as the day progresses, the light changes. And so we need to be able to have potentially adjustable lights, maybe with a dimmable option, avoiding too much glare. And even the choice of color is important because cooler or bluer light can be more stimulating, helps you focus, whereas warmer yellow light might be better if you're trying to have more relaxed activities. Then let's talk about air quality. So poor air quality, as we know, can actually impact and impair your cognitive functioning. Studies have actually linked exposure to air pollution with a decrease in attention and memory. Making sure that you have a well-ventilated space so you don't have a buildup of carbon dioxide, so that you can actually keep attention, keep awake. Making sure that there's no pollutants, especially for those who have allergies. So the removal of dust and allergens and mold spores, very important. Maybe considering having a cleaning, like one of those machines, an air cleaner in the room. And then, of course, temperature and humidity, making sure that you're removing stale and stuffy air. So air purifiers, putting in indoor plants, a very good option to clean the air in a natural way. And then, of course, cleaning practices. So if we upkeep, making sure that we're removing the dust, making sure that we're vacuuming consistently, that way we can make sure that the air is clean. And then noise. Of course, as we know, if it's too loud, excessive noise can impact your ability to focus. Making sure that background conversations when you're trying to have a meeting or trying to be at school, making sure that you don't have any distractions. And then, of course, there are certain kinds of sounds that have been determined to be beneficial, such as white noise. Ambient sounds can help distract or mask any kind of distracting sounds. And then some people work better with music. So if someone learns better with music at home, for example, I've got a 17-year-old daughter. She's always got her headphones on when she's doing homework. She said it helps her process, helps her think. So let's be thoughtful or mindful about the level of sound, minimizing any external sounds. Maybe at school, establish policies around sound. And of course, having headphones does provide some options. And then last but not least, temperature. Of course, extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, can negatively impact cognitive functioning. So having a thermostat control so you can get a balance. Having heat stress can impact memory. It can impact decision making. And of course, for some people, if it's too hot, they get sleepy. For other people, if it's too cold, they get sleepy. So you want to make sure that we are comfortable so that we can focus. And of course, because everyone is different, reactions to heat and cold, maybe have a dress code consideration so that it's flexible. If you can always throw a sweater on when it's cold. And option 2 could be zoning, having temperature zoning. But the key thing with all of these environmental elements, because everyone's needs are different, is that we communicate our needs, our preferences, figuring out what works for everyone individually and being open to hearing their needs and making those adjustments as needed. So when we're talking about family-friendly learning environment, we're talking about having a supportive, inclusive space where families feel welcomed, they're valued, where they can learn, kids can focus, the needs of their children are fostered with a sense of belonging. And so we also need to consider accessibility, having inclusive spaces and resources, collaboration, having a partnership where that communication of needs takes place, having positive encouragement and engagement where we provide resources and activities that foster participation and learning, focusing on literacy or at-home learning kits, making sure that the learning environment is really constant and consistent and generalized. And yes, communication. So using our platforms, whether it's newsletters or text messages or mobile apps, so we can find the right balance, making sure that everyone has input. And then, of course, the opportunities for people to engage, to give their feedback, whether it's family workshops or home activities or community learning. The whole idea is to create supports so that we can really improve our student success with a great learning environment. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to pass it over to Faith.
Thank you, Kim. So there are so many different environments, and each environment serves a purpose to the family. So family's home environment. Setting up a dedicated learning space at home is essential for creating an environment where children can thrive. It's not about having a large or elaborate area. Sometimes a small, well-organized corner is all it takes. The goal is to design a space that balances comfort and inspiration tailored to the child's needs. A thoughtfully set up learning space not only supports focus and creativity, but also helps children feel motivated and ready to tackle their studies each day. So designated learning area, a simple desk or table and comfortable chair. Look for an adjustable chair that supports proper posture, or use a sturdy table suited for activities like writing or crafting. Organization, and this is my favorite one. Use storage containers, shelves, or bins to keep supplies organized. Inspiration and creativity, display artwork, projects, and inspirational quotes. Everyone has that special quote that makes them smile and that encourages them. Some people, they write their favorite quotes on a sticky and they put it on their mirror, or affirmations. Flexibility, allow for easy rearrangement of space. Use lightweight furniture or movable desks to adapt the space as needed for group activities or solo learning. Technology integration, good internet access. In the world that we're living in, we need good internet. So make sure wherever you are, you have good internet. Home living spaces. The home is more than a place to live. It's a child's first classroom, a space where learning happens organically every day. From the living room to the kitchen, every corner of the room can foster exploration, curiosity, and growth. Creating a purposeful learning environment within living spaces doesn't mean turning them into a classroom, but rather integrating opportunities to engagement, comfort, and discovery into the flow of daily life. So fun fact, growing up, my brother and I, we used to play school. And our home, even though it was a home, we say that a home is more than a place to live. For us, our home was our mini classroom. I was Miss Faith and my brother was Mr. Kurt, and we used our teddy bears to make a classroom. And that environment cultivated so much within us. Now, when we look at the sensory experience, we want to create a calm, relaxing atmosphere, which is key to fostering a positive environment. Think about cozy, comfortable, bedding. Ensuring there's adequate lighting for activities like reading or studying. Adding a touch of personalization, such as a child's favorite items or decorations, helps make the space feel uniquely theirs and promotes a sense of belonging. Emotional impact. It's important to consider how the child feels in their environment. Do they feel safe, secure, and relaxed? There also should be a healthy balance between rest and learning. A space where they can recharge, but also stay engaged with enriching activities. Learning opportunities, literacy, simple activities like reading bedtime stories together, encouraging independent reading, or offering audiobooks can foster a love for books and language. Bedtime stories, reading classics like Goodnight Moon, pausing to ask questions like, what do you think will happen next? To encourage critical thinking and engagement. And math. Every day, play can turn into math opportunities, counting toys, sorting them by size or color, or organizing small collections are all fun ways to build foundational math skills. So growing up, math wasn't my subject, but my mom did her best to make sure that I understood math. So what she would do is she would go in the kitchen and get red kidney beans, and she would use red kidney beans to explain what 4 plus 4 is, 5 plus 5 is. And to this day, I actually explain to my cousins and people that I meet simple math skills using beans, using coins, using quarters. The kitchen. Who doesn't love the kitchen? But the kitchen is also a special place other than just cooking. The kitchen is more than a place for preparing meals. It can become a hub for learning and discovery. The versatile space naturally encourages interaction, creativity, and exploration, making it perfect for hands-on activities, experiences that enhances a child's development. So think of moments like counting ingredients for recipe, measuring liquids, or discussing the science behind cooking. These activities introduce foundational math and science concepts in an engaging way. The kitchen can also be a space for storytelling, whether through family recipes passed down from generation to generation or cultural traditions tied to certain foods. So I want you to think back, and if you celebrate Thanksgiving, the kitchen is a very crucial place in the home when it comes to Thanksgiving. I know in my home, we all have a role. So my sister, she helps my dad with the mac and cheese. My job was to make sure that the table is set. So how can we make the child feel involved and capable? Involve the child in cooking activities by assigning manageable tasks, like measuring flour, stirring ingredients, and setting the table. And make sure to encourage a child as they do these activities. Celebrate small successes, such as completing a recipe or learning a new skill. For instance, saying you did a fantastic job whisking the egg. It boosts confidence and reinforces their abilities. Provide choices to encourage involvement, such as letting them select toppings on pizza or pick a recipe to try together. Giving them this strengthens their sense of capability. Students learning at home. Pick a study spot. My study spot was the dining room table, and it was the head seat. Having a dedicated study spot could be your bedroom, a quiet corner of the living room, or wherever. The key is that your go-to space when it's time to hit the books. This helps your brain associate that area with learning. Bedroom, study, quiet corners. So when you're choosing, think about a few things. Is it generally quiet? Can you minimize interruptions there? Good lighting is super important too. We'll get to that in a little bit though. Keep it tidy and clear. So I don't know about you, but if my room is messy, if anywhere I am is messy, I cannot think or concentrate properly. So this might sound like a chore, but trust me, keep it tidy. A cluttered space equals to a cluttered mind. Before you start studying, take a few steps to clear away anything you don't need. Books for other subjects, even your phone. Put your phone on D&D. That stands for Do Not Disturb. Minimize distractions, TVs, and talkers. This is a big one. Distractions like family members chatting, your phone buzzing, the TV, they all put your attention away. Try to find a spot where you can minimize those things. Maybe that means putting your phone away on silent, D&D, or letting your family know you need some quiet time. Noise canceling headphones. And for those times when you can't control the noise around you, put your noise canceling headphones on. It can be a lifesaver. They create your own little focus bubble. Even if you don't listen to music, they can really help. And if you do listen to music, I highly recommend lo-fi music on YouTube. Organize and focus. Staying organized is a major key to focus. This is where you keep your stuff. Keep your school stuff, your books and your papers all in one place. So when it's time to go back, you know where to find them. Make sure you have good lighting. Lighting. It's so essential. You don't want to strain your eyes, and natural light is great if you can swing it. But if not, make sure you have a good desk lamp that provides bright, even light. Ambiance. Set the study mood, music or essential oils. You can also personalize your space to make it more inviting. Some people find that light instrumental music, lo-fi music, helps their focus, while others prefer a specific scent from essential oils. Experiment to see what you feel calm and ready to learn. So to sum it up, create a dedicated space. Keep it organized, minimize distractions, and make it comfortable. A little effort is setting up your space can make a huge difference in your study habits and grades. Students at school, this one's for you. School can be busy, but you have more control than you think. Let's focus on how to tweak your school environment to help you execute executive functions, like staying organized and paying attention in class. Boosting your brain power at school. So locker and desk control. Keep your locker and your desk neat. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, we had locker checks, so it was a reason for me to also keep my locker clean. It makes finding things faster and reduces visual distractions. Use folders or dividers for different subjects. Everything has its place. Classroom focus. If noise bothers you, see if you can sit in a quieter spot in the classroom. Keep only what you need for the lesson on your desk. Put away phones and other distractions. Smart organizations. A planner, a planner, a planner. If you don't like using physical planners, you can also use Google Calendar or the Apple Calendar, or a notebook to keep track of assignments and deadlines. This helps with planning and time management. Pack your bag the night before and avoid procrastination. Do the work early. One more time. Do the work early. Unclutter your brain and reduce the stress from deadlines. The library power. The library is often a quiet zone, a great place to focus if your classroom is noisy. And don't forget to go to your neighborhood library and get a library card today. And now over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Faith. Oh my God, I love all those golden nuggets. I feel like the do not disturb sign certainly is not something that I'm putting much practice to. So thank you for that gentle reminder. So let's talk to our educators and let's talk about something we might not always notice, but definitely feel. And remember, earlier, Kim was talking about feelings, right? How do we feel when we're in environments? But let's talk about the exterior of a school. I want you to think about the first thing you see when you approach a school. That initial impression sets the tone for students, families, and the entire community. So let's start with the building appearance and color. A fresh coat of paint in a well-maintained building. You know what that says to me? It says we care about this space. It's bright, it's welcoming colors. That can boost energy and positivity. While neutral tones create a sense of calm and structure. Signage matters. You ever walk into a place and you just feel lost? Having clear and friendly signage helps set the right vibe. A big welcome sign, welcome to our school, should be bold, should have inviting colors, and it can make the school feel warm and approachable, while missing or outdated signs, that might send the wrong message. And think about the child's perspective. How are they feeling? What are they seeing? Do they feel safe at looking at your building? Does it feel welcoming or does it feel cold? So think about that. So school hallways and interior. I always say the first impression leaves a lasting impression. And this still holds true, especially for our students. The school environment can significantly impact a student's entire day and learning experience. Think about it. Think about any environment that you're in, whether it's your work environment. How does it impact you? It's the same for our students. So let's take a look at some helpful tips, at least we believe they're helpful, that can create a positive experience for our students. First, spaces for rest and belongings. You should have quiet corners and soft seating where students can decompress. Lockers or cubbies labeled with student's name. That way it can give them a sense of personal space. You should always have availability of water, whether you have a refillable water stations placed throughout the school to encourage hydration, or ensure that water pitchers and cups are accessible during activities and personal space. Smells. Avoid strong cleaning chemicals during school hours. Instead, use neutral or common scents. I know Faith mentioned that, essential oils, something like lavender in shared spaces. Sounds. It's nice to have soft background music in the cafeteria so it can create a relaxed atmosphere, or soundproofing classrooms to reduce noise from hallways. And lastly, greetings at the door, which really shouldn't be lastly, should be first. But the way you welcome your students is everything. Teachers and staff, custodians, you should be giving individual, whether it's a fist pump, high five, or you're doing the elbow, whatever that looks like, smiles, or culturally relevant greetings in the morning to create that positive and inclusive start to the day. So what's the educator's role in creating a positive school environment? You have to be intentional. Make students feel valued from the moment they arrive. A welcome wall with their names and fun facts fosters connection. Design elements, color, they should be bright tones. Energize your younger students. Muted tones, they create focus for those older learners. The lighting, it should be maximized. Natural light for mood and focus. And use adjustable lamps for cozy study areas. Your layout should always be open spaces for group collaboration, or set up those quiet corners for independent work. Your materials, you should have interactive elements, rugs, whiteboards, and sensory stations to keep spaces engaging. And cleanliness, so important to have a clean environment. But to Faith's point, a clutter-free space promotes well-being. And it also shows that you care. Your themes, you should have murals, student artwork, and subject-based decorations to create an inspiring atmosphere. And have that student-centered approach. Let them be involved. And age does matter. So for those younger students, they thrive in that playful and colorful setting. But our older students, they benefit from more streamlined and mature spaces. So really be mindful about what you're creating for the students. And lastly, functional furniture. Have lightweight tables for hands-on learning, adjustable desks, which are fantastic, especially for comfort during study sessions. Or maybe you have that student that really can't keep still, and an adjustable desk will be very helpful for that student. And lastly, school layout. Creating an engaging and learning environment. Talked about that flexible seating. Offer bean bags or floor cushions. Talked about that standing desk. I mean, that is really so instrumental for our students. Have them choose their seating. What fits their learning style? Because remember, every student, they're different. Their learning styles are different. And believe it or not, the seating does matter. Younger students, though, they benefit from that carpet squares or low tables for floor seating and flexible setup. That boasts engagement, collaboration, and ownership. Set up learning centers. Create designated zones for reading, math, science, art. Stock them with relevant materials. For example, for your reading, you want to set up a reading nook. Books, beanbags, audiobooks. Maybe your math station would have blocks, calculators, and games. Your science corner should have microscopes and experiment kits. Art space, you can have those cans with paint, markers, and crafting supplies. A structured but dynamic environment encourages hands-on learning, but most importantly, it encourages curiosity. We hope that some of these tips and strategies have been helpful to you. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lanisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the community. It takes a village. It literally does. So before we talk about the community's role in creating spaces, I want to share a quote with you from Helen Keller. She said, "Alone, we can do so little, and together, we can do so much." So let's talk about what the community can do to create spaces for our children. We can provide clean, safe, and stimulating environments for children and families. We recognize and support the role of learning in everyday life. We learn everywhere. We don't just learn in the classroom. We learn in the community. Invest in our parks, our playgrounds, and our public spaces. Just taking our kids on walks, we're teaching them things. If they see certain signs in the community, they're learning. So we need to promote walkability and active transportation. I know in some communities we have walk lanes, we have bike lanes, we have skating lanes. All of those things are telling us that we're investing in our kids because those are the things that they like to do. Support community events and activities. Let's have these great activities in our communities where we're bringing everyone together. When we bring everyone together, we are promoting, them getting to know each other. We're promoting them learning about different cultures. We're promoting that they are being involved in their community and they're getting to know their community, not just their house or outside their house, but everything about their community. We're maintaining our buildings and our infrastructure. It's important that when we take those walks, we are looking at the buildings that are in our community and we're seeing that they're well maintained. Sometimes when our kids see, badly maintained properties and buildings, they begin to think badly about themselves. That is a reflection on their self-worth and their self-being. Signage and public art. I love murals. Jeanette talked about them. They're colorful. They're an investment in our community. We need to also make sure that those murals are maintained. So sometimes, they go up and a couple years go by, they're outside, they see the elements. We just need to make sure that we're also planning to invest in the maintenance of those murals and the public art. A sensory experience. Cleanliness in the absence of unpleasant smells. I hate going in a community and it's dirty. I just have this, like, it skeeves me out. So we just need to, not just our community partners, but also our families, our youth. We need to take some ownership. When we have garbage in our hands, we can't just drop it on the ground. Go find the nearest garbage can and put your garbage in. So we need to also invest. Noise levels and soundscapes. We talked a little bit about it earlier. We have children that have sensory issues and they need to be aware, and we need to be aware of those issues and our noise levels. So when we're having community events, we might want to have some noise canceling headphones, available for those children and even adults. The visual appeal of buildings and streets, we already talked about that. We need to, really, talk to our council people, our townspeople about having enough garbage cans, about having enough recycling cans, because that will increase the cleanliness of our community. And opportunities for physical activity and play, investment in our parks. When you go to a council meeting, when we're at a community event, we need to also say, yes, we have a park here, but is it well maintained? Are they maintaining the, park equipment? Are they coming to put mulch down or whatever, they need to refresh, weekly, monthly, daily, whatever, so that our kids are experiencing a park, a community activity that is well maintained and we're well prepared for them to use that equipment. Next slide. Public spaces. So our public spaces are there for everyone in the community, and even some people who are not part of the community. There are times when I pass by a park and my son says, "Mommy, park, park," and we just pull over and get out. So we just have to realize that not just our community are taking part in our public spaces, but individuals and families outside of our community. So parks and playgrounds are essential. Let me say that again, essential to developing physical, social, and cognitive skills. There are opportunities for unstructured play and exploration. Our kids are exploring when they're at the park. I can't tell you how many times I have to tell my son, please put that stick down. Please put the rocks down. That is an opportunity for him to have fun and for me to sit on the park bench and read my book. And in order to do that, we have to focus on the cleanliness, safety, and accessibility of our parks. So I have to feel safe to sit on that bench and read my book because I'm just letting my kid run around unstructured. So I need to make sure that the gates are secured, that there are no holes in the gates, that there's cameras around that park, so that, if something happens, the police are monitoring that park. Our sidewalks and our public spaces. Are our sidewalks done? Are there no cracks in them? They're not lifted up so that we can encourage walking. We want to have walkable cities. Well, we need to have sidewalks that are well maintained in order to have walking cities. We have to have opportunities to observe the world and interact with others. Focus on safety, walkability, and visual interest. When I'm walking, I also want to make sure there's no garbage on the sidewalks, that there's no, I just want well-maintained sidewalks and public spaces. Our streets should be well-maintained so that when we're walking across the street, I'm not falling into a pothole. Buildings and infrastructure reflect on the history and culture and values of the community. I happen to live in Paterson, New Jersey at one time. Paterson is an excellent city to have these walking tours. And when I worked for the city, we did have walking tours that talked about the history of Paterson. It's the first planned industrial city in the United States. Our kids, our community needs to know that. They need to see the mills and the falls and all of the great things that are available and that are part of the history of the city, because we don't want anyone to forget that history. So let's make sure that our buildings and our infrastructure are well maintained so we can talk about that. We should explore sources for learning about architecture, engineering, and design. We need to focus on the maintenance and accessibility and aesthetic appeal of those cities. All of our cities have some history. All of our cities, we can have walking tours and garden tours, and there are so many things that we can build upon as a community to teach our children and even ourselves about our history. Sports and recreation. Organized sports are important. They teach our children about teamwork. They help them build social connections. Even our informal games and sports and activities do that. So we need to make sure that they are a priority in our communities. Physical activity. We have talked so much over the last decade about how our kids need to eat healthy. They need to be able to get that exercise. The increase of our children having diabetes, being overweight, we need to promote and support organized sports and informal games. We need to get out there with our kids. Our kids don't just need it. We need it too. So as they're doing it, we need to be doing it as well. We talked already about cleanliness of our environment, our well-maintained streets and buildings and public spaces, the pleasant smells. I want to see flowers. I want fresh air for my kids. So I've even talked about, and I don't have the greenest thumb in the world, but even trying to build a garden. So having some community gardens and having classes for our families about how to build a home garden so that we can teach our kids the importance of fresh fruits and vegetables. We, as a community, contribute to the sense of well-being of our children and our community, and these things will help us do that. Next slide. So to find out more about our family-friendly strategies to create a space where we want to learn, live, and grow, we have put together this activity handout. The handout is separated by early childhood and elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we try to give you some tips and tricks so that you can use in your family, in your community, and in your school. You will get this handout once you complete the survey at the end of this webinar. And now I will turn it back over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Lanisha. Such great information. I love your passion. I can't wait to be outdoors and doing all those great things with my children. Okay, so let's talk about some exciting upcoming webinars that we're so excited to bring to you. Up next, we're going to have Family Math Presents. As you know, NAFSCI Center is partnered with us. They're going to come back on May 21st. So we encourage you to please register by scanning the QR code, and we're going to place the registration links in the chat. They are the experts in family math, and we're always excited when they return because they give such wealth of information. And we know you're going to have some really great takeaways. And then up next, we'll have our Engaging Fathers, Building Stronger Schools communities, where we're amplifying fathers. So we're going to have a webinar on June 10th that speaks to you hear from panelists who are dads, and you can hear from their lens and their perspective of the importance of them being engaged to increase academic success. So we're super excited. We have a great lineup for that webinar, so be sure to register. And as you can see, the Hub's keeping very busy. Our partners, Patterson Education Fund, has a learning series each month. On Tuesday, May 27th, they'll be presenting parent and community advocacy. Excellent workshop. This is held in the evening. I strongly encourage you to please register. The way they deliver their presentations is extremely engaging and informative. Up next, they'll have on June 10th, restorative practices and school climate. Again, this is an evening session from 6 to 7 p.m. And then on June 16th, student success and well-being. Again, another evening session from 6 to 7. We understand that that could be the witching hour for many of us. However, I encourage you to just register and be present for that 1 hour. I can promise you that I always say, and I won't say I always say, I say the Hub always says, that every day is a learning day. So it's very important that you invest in your own learning and understand what's available to you, the strategies and tips, because all that's going to do is amplify you, elevate you, and it'll elevate your children as well as the community. And last, well, not last, we have more events here, but we have the Center for Family Math. And we invite you to participate in this community of practice. This will be held weekly virtual sessions for 4 weeks from 3:30 to 5 p.m. And it starts on Monday, September 8th. Then the following, the 15th, the 22nd, and the final day of the session would be the 29th. So again, we encourage you to register, especially for those that have anxiety about math, how to overcome that. This is going to be a really great learning opportunity. So if your schedule permits, we encourage you to join us. Please save the date for our upcoming Parent Leadership and Advocacy Conference, which will be held Saturday, September 27th. The registration will not open until June, but we invite you to please mark your calendars and join us. It'll be a full day of learning tracks, networking with other parent leaders, constituents, community providers. We have a really wonderful lineup in terms of workshop tracks. So it's just a really great day. It's a great learning day, and it's just a time to come together. And if you haven't met us, we would love to just meet you in person. We appreciate all the support that you've been offering to the hub. So take that opportunity to come out and spend the day with us. And lastly, upcoming, we have our listening session, which the next date will be May 20th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And really what that is, we want you to be part of the conversation and learn about what we are doing here at the hub, how we're making an impact, partnering with school districts who are, we will showcase school districts who are partnered with us and some of the great things that we're doing. But really join us so that you can see the benefits of connecting to us and what we offer and the resources. So we hope you make that opportunity to join us. We'd love to get to know you as well and what you're doing and what your interests are. At this time, the webinar, this concludes a portion of our webinar. We want to give you a heartfelt thank you for joining us today. We know that you could be anywhere that you choose to be, but you chose to be with us. So we really appreciate that. Please scan the QR code, fill out the survey. As you know, your feedback is very instrumental to the work that we're doing. We want to be able to continue to offer you these insightful webinars. Also, if you require to receive a certificate of participation for this webinar, you will have an opportunity to select yes or no, and we'll provide that to you via email. But again, please fill out the surveys because we do read what the inputs are, and we're always trying to elevate and bring all the best information that we can to our communities. Once again, thank you for joining us, and until next time.